Welcome! So in front of me is a Samsung Galaxy Fold, and today I'll go over a quick unboxing along with a brief overview of the device. So as you can see, this is the box that it comes in, and inside of that box you have another box. So there we go. Then inside of that box you got another box. So let's just set that all the way to the side so I don't knock it off. And in here we have, it almost fell out. So I will say right off the bat, the device was already set up, so it's not necessarily the full experience of unboxing, but when you pop it open, you will have cardboard, and this kind of comes off along with the device, so it has a separate box for the phone, and in here you have accessories, but let's open that up. So as you can see, there's the phone. Now, like I said, it was already unpacked before, so it's missing all that foil around it and stuff like that, but there we go. So let's just set it to the side, and I probably already made it all smudgy and stuff because I just touched it, and it's a fingerprint magnet. So just close this, set it on the side. There's nothing inside of there, and in here you have some Galaxy Fold in your service, wherever. Then you have a booklet, and while I'm opening that, I will actually show you something that I found really interesting, considering Samsung doesn't really include those normally, but I guess the foldable ones they do. So paperwork, no one really cares. There we go. That's the thing that we care about. So you have this case, and it's a really nice looking case. I assume it's carbon fiber, considering you pay close to 2,000, or well, not close, but exactly 2,000 for the device, so it would be nice if they did include it. Now I'm gonna quickly slap it on here, although keep in mind, to get it fully on, you have these sticky parts right here, and you want to peel that off and then put it on. I'm just gonna be doing that without peeling it off, so you just get a look at how it looks like with this being on here. So you have something like this. Looks fairly nice, I would say. Closed. So I just set that aside for now. Get rid of this, and then inside of here we got a couple additional items, like the AKG headphones. Those are the earbuds that Samsung makes. So they're fairly good. I don't believe they have noise cancelling, unfortunately, so that's kind of sad, but then you can't really complain about getting a wireless earbuds that are, well, good. So let's just slot that back in here. Then you get a 15-watt charger, so that's nothing really special, basically mediocre. You also get this, so that's a USB-C to USB-A plug. If I could get it, there we go, the light in there. So you can plug stuff into it, USB-based storages and stuff like that. So just a nice add-on. Not every device includes that. I mean, not every Samsung device. Majority of the other companies don't even bother giving you something like that, so that's nice. And then in here we have ear tips for the buds, and then just a plain old cable. So now that we got all the content of the box out of the way, I'll just pile that up and move it out of the way on the ground. And from here we got the device itself. So now we'll actually take off the case so you can get a good look of how the device actually looks like without the case on there. There we go. So hopefully it's in focus. So the device was released in September 2019, so not too long ago, and it cost roughly around $2,000. So from there I'm gonna base my opinion about the phone itself the price and what you get for it, and also comparing it to a couple other foldable options that I also have experienced, for instance, like the box that I'll be doing right after this, the Motorola Razr. So, spoil, it's not very good. So from here, as you can see, this is the main display, and it's inside. It folds also inside, as you can see. So it is protected when you close it with this smallish gap, as you can see right here. So it doesn't fold fully flat, and there's still crease that stuff can get into. Now, the main display is a 7.3 inch display with a resolution of 1536 by 2152, and that is 362 pixels per inch. So nothing really super high, but in my opinion, the display is super crystal clear. I don't really see pixels on it, so to me the resolution doesn't really matter that much. And body to screen ratio on the inside is a 85.7%. So that's because you have these kind of hefty bezels right here all around, and the camera cutout right here. And as you can see in there, you have the sensors along with two different cameras. So while we're on the camera topic right here, so these two cameras are 10 and 8 megapixel, both wide sensors. The 8 megapixel one basically is a depth sensor in a way, and they're nothing really special. They shoot at the 1080p videos. I'm probably at, let's see if we can get it to, where is it, flip it over, close that, and let's go into these settings, rear, front. There we go. So we can shoot, looks like 4K, but everything is locked to 30 frames, so you don't get the ability to go to 60. Kind of a shame. But then, if we like to flip it over, let me just go back. So when we flip back, you actually are able to shoot at 1080p 60. You can also shoot at 4K 30. And you have actually three sensors. So if I just lock it for now, let me close this because the plastic inside is not very durable material there. So you can see that we have two different cameras right here, or three different cameras. So the main sensor is a 12 megapixel wide, then you have 12 megapixel telephoto and 16 megapixel ultra wide. And I will right off the bat say that these are not the best sensors I have seen on Samsung devices, especially released in this year. I think I would compare it probably something close to like S8 or even lower. So they don't blow you out of the water with the quality of the photos. It's kind of a shame. The device itself has like 6 cameras, I think, all around, and nothing really on here with those cameras does anything special, I would say. Now I do have a little prop right here, as you can see. So we have a shark with a hat and a sword for some reason. Let me just put it up on something. What can I put it on? Let me just use this. A good box. So I'm gonna capture a photo with this. As you can already see on the camera, you have fairly dark under there. So as you can see, the photo came out fairly nice, but I wouldn't say it's amazing. Let's see how it does when you blast it with light. When you have a little bit more drastic lighting that it will probably struggle with. So I'm trying to kind of show of more like an HDR environment where it would need to balance the sunlight. There's some AI stuff. Now I'm not going into all that, all the stuff with doing it manually and stuff like that. I just want to show how it does by default. So as you can see, the photo seems a little bit darkish below, losing detail, I would say. That still actually came out a little bit better. But honestly, if you start making photos without like perfect lighting, I would say, from experience, I was just messing around with the camera and it wasn't taking the brightest, or not even brightest, I meant the clearest photos. They were coming out pixelated for some reason, although still not as bad as the other foldable device, which I said before, the Razr. So it looks like it's right now trying to use one of the autofocus to catch focus on this. That's why it was doing that weird pulsing. Okay, let me just move the camera, the light a little bit higher, and there we go. So continue on. I already said the front, the main display was a 7.3. Now you also have the secondary display, which I find to be really nice. A lot of people complain about the size of it. It's a 4.6-inch 720p display, which is 720 by 1680, and it's also a Super AMOLED display. As you can see, really nice. Also launches a camera. You can use the back one, as you can see, flip it onto the front one, which the front one will not be the inside display. That will be, there's another camera right here, so let's just flip it over. And as you can see, there is another one. So it's this one right here. So you have a couple different choices for cameras. So let's leave that. And this display is fully functional. You can use the phone solely off of this display, which not every phone has that. Majority of the other foldable ones, I would say, apart from the Huawei, even though they would have like additional display, almost all of them are virtually useless. This one is fully usable. You can run only off of this display if you want to. If the one inside breaks, for instance, you can use this one without any limitations. And whenever you're doing something, as you've probably seen all those previews of the Fold before, the super stressed out guy doing the preview of this device when on a conference, you've seen that you could launch something like Maps as an example, or any kind of app like YouTube, and when you open it up, it will resume that instantaneously, so you don't really get the you don't lose any time. You can flip it over, get a full view of it. So just a nice progression. Now, also another thing that I'll say, when you're using the inside screen, you do have a couple things that you can do. You can, I think, have 4 different or 3 different apps running at the same time. As you can see, there's YouTube. You can drop on browser. Boom, that's another one. Let's extend it once more. Let's drop notes on top of it, so we can drag it either on top here or here. Bam. Let's extend it once more. Drag over Chrome as an example, and you can drag it on here. So yeah, you can have 4 different apps open at the same time. So the 4th one will be as a window, as you can see, like this, which you can actually resize if you want to, move around, if I can grab it somehow. Still kind of learning how to use this. Normally you should be able to drag it around. It looks like for now I can't. And all these other apps are fully usable, so you can interact with everything, as you can see, and everything works just fine. And you could also watch YouTube while interacting with 3 different apps at the same time. It's a really nice multitasking, I would say. Although if you close it, you lose, well, almost all of them. The tiny screen in the front is not really suitable for that. And one thing that I kind of find to be a mess is a pen. Now, if you ever use the Note devices. They come with a pen, and they're smaller than this, but the pen is really nice. I really enjoyed it. Here you don't get that, but then I also assumed that if you would, you probably would be damaging your screen, so they decided consciously to not include it, because you pressing the pen to the screen might actually damage it. These things are for some reason super fragile, and you could basically deform this screen by pressing your fingernail into it. So I would really try to take care of this display. So if anything gets in here and you close it, you actually might damage the display permanently, so it will break a pixel, whatever, and then it just kind of like starts spreading some black crap everywhere. I would advise you to look at, for instance, Jerry Rig videos where he demolishes them, and he shows fairly well how brittle these devices are. When it comes down to just the overall build quality of these devices, they're made out of aluminum, glass, and plastic inside, as the screen here, glass back, and aluminum frame. And they hold up fairly well in a durability test, so if you want to bend it or stuff like that, they do tend to be fairly well designed. The hinges are really nice. They do hold, although if you introduce something like dust, or not dust, but sand to the hinges, it will be just a audible nightmare, in my opinion. Imagine scratching a chalkboard with your nails. Make that worse. That's basically what it will sound like every time you try to open and close it with the sand inside there. So it is a literal nightmare, and any kind of debris can get in there. These devices are not sealed in any way, as you can see. If I flip it over, you have gaps all around here between the hinge, so any kind of debris can get in here, even here, as you can see. They did try to improve it with the iterations of the device, because this is the second one. Before, you could basically peel off the plastic filling on here, and this would break the display. So with the second one, they did fix that up, but still the device is not sealed in any way, and any kind of trash can get under the display. Now, continuing on with the specifications, probably, apart from like talking about just the general usability of the device. It comes with a, like I said, main pixel shooter is a 16 megapixel that can shoot at 4K. The device itself has a built-in 512 gigabytes of storage with a 12 gigabyte of RAM, so you have more RAM than some people have on their computer, and that is probably due to the fact that you can slap it on those Samsung docks, and you can use it as a portable computer in itself by using a secondary display and just having it connected to that dock. You just plop it there and have a desktop experience almost. And then the device itself comes with a Snapdragon 855, so it's not the newest one, but it's almost the newest one. I think at the moment you have 855 plus, so you're just missing the plus. And then when it comes to the battery, even though the display or the entire phone itself is kind of big, this is an example. This is a Huawei Mate 20 Pro, and as a comparison, you can see that it is a little bit more than half of this phone itself. So even though this is a huge phone, you don't really have much battery space. This thing has 4,380 milliamps battery, which is, I think, even less than what I have right in my phone, or somewhere really close to what I have, and my phone is smaller. Keep in mind, I don't actually have two displays with a combined resolution probably twice as high of whatever this has. So you do have the benefit of having these tablet-like displays, which do fold. Now, also, apart from the storage being quite high, it comes with a UFS 3.0. That's a type of storage comparable to an SSD in your computer. Now, primarily before, you had the flash storages in in majority of the smartphones before, and they weren't the fastest one. This uses something alongside of an SSD, but for the phone, which is super fast, transfers data really quickly. So it is nice that it's included in a phone that it has a fairly hefty price tag. Again, something that I cannot say for other foldable devices. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned the front display. I might have mentioned, but if I didn't, we're gonna say it quickly again. That was a 720p 720 by 1680 display, AMOLED, 16 million colors, and all that jazz, with a 4.6 inch size. And then let's go lastly to the system of the device. So this comes with One UI from Samsung, just a scan on an Android 9 by default, but can be upgraded to an Android 10, so the newest one on the market. So that is a really nice thing. And yeah, now as you can see, you can also bring up the stuff apparently here. I just found that out right now by checking what that was. What else is there to say? It has a fingerprint sensor on the side. So if I close it, you can see it. There we go. It's this thing right here. That's the fingerprint sensor. It does not double as a button. You do have a power key right here, or side button, however you want to call it. Samsung started calling them side keys, so you don't try to power off the device, even though you have 3 different side keys. They call these volume keys. This is a side key, because they disabled power off feature on it and just slapped a Bixby function to it if you try to hold it, as you can see right now. So now personally, I'm not the greatest fan of the Bixby key, and you can change it in the settings to some kind of other function, so that is nice. But I kind of don't like just the idea of trying to jam you with the Bixby everywhere and literally removing the previous one that was on the other side and now substituting it for the power key. Now, don't worry, you still can lock the device normally as you would with this button, so the function of unlocking and locking the device is still there. And lastly, I will say about the charging. So it does have a 15-watt fast charging. Nothing really mind-blowing. I think nowadays devices, even like older ones than this, reached up to 60-watt charging. I assume in this case they might need a little bit more space inside, and they didn't want to compromise to make the device even bigger. So you do have to spend about a couple hours, about 3 hours to charge this device instead of like 40 minutes. And it also has a 15-watt fast charging, the Qi charging. So if you have a good Qi charger, you can slap that on that charger, the wireless one, and it will also charge. That's why you have glass back probably, and also because it feels more premium. As you can probably see right now, the device is an absolute finger magnet. And when it comes down to the inside display, when you get it all fingered up and stuff, as you can see, it's already kind of smudgy. This is a nightmare to clean. Number one, because for me at least, I'm scared that I'm gonna scratch it, and number two, the smudges and like grease doesn't want to come off of this plastic display, so that is really annoying to clean. You have to basically polish it till it's clean. And also because of the gaps right here, gaps or like bezels, I would say, on the display all around, it still kind of leaves a little bit of like grease or just dirt, I would say, in the bezels right here. That is really hard to get because it's not flush as we're by now used to. So yeah, I think this is everything that I can say about this device. Now I'll also go over appearance-wise from every angle, just kind of get the light a little bit better shining because it doesn't really do a very good job showing it. So as you can see, at the bottom you do have only a charging port, a USB Type-C, a microphone I assume, and a loudspeaker right here. Then on the top you have, I believe this is another speaker right here. If you can get the light there. There we go. So you have the loudspeaker, another microphone for voice calls. Then on the left side you have a SIM tray, this thing right here, and then on the right you do have volume rocker, spark key, fingerprint sensor, and just antenna bands all around. So those are the sides, top, bottom, and middle. Then on the closed front, I guess, I'm not sure how to call it, you have the speaker when you pick up the calls. You don't actually open it up to call, you have it closed like this. Camera, display right here, just light it up, there we go, display, nothing right here, so just a seamless glass almost, apart from this cutout right here for the speaker. And then right here you have just the metal framing, a hinge framing with a nice Samsung logo that hides away when you open it up, as you can see. And on the back you have the triple camera setup with the flash, and some right here writing, basically the marking as every device is on the bottom of the, I don't think I can get it on the camera, it's really hard to get it. It is fairly faint right now, so it's acceptable that the camera doesn't actually see it. And yeah, now one thing that I will say right off the bat, if you're a skeptical person about the foldable devices, out of all the ones that exist, I tried basically all of them apart from the Mate X, and this right now is, in my opinion, the best one. It feels the most premium, most well built. You don't feel like it's gonna break right off the bat. It does have a satisfying weight to it, although for some people it might be a little bit heavy. It does weigh over 200 grams, I believe. So it's not the lightest device out there. But other than that, I feel like it's well built. It feels nice in hand, and the ability to flip the device open like so and just resume whatever you were doing and have this entire gigantic screen adds a little bit of productivity, in my opinion. And I personally might not have been the biggest fan of foldable devices, but this, in my opinion, is the best way to do it. If you plan to have one of those like Razer phones, or for instance Galaxy Z Flip, it's virtually a normal smartphone as we have right now, with like, for instance, just what I have, but with the ability to be folded in half. And in this case, you're overpaying for the fact that it can be folded, and also it's not as durable, I would say. You lose also waterproofing. None of the foldable devices are waterproof, so that's one thing to keep in mind. So yeah, this one feels, in my opinion, the best out of all of them. And if you're planning to buy any one of the foldable devices, I would, at the moment, recommend this one. Now, it is not the cheapest one, based on the fact that it costs $2,000 in dollars. But then you also get the wireless AKG headphones, which all in itself I think cost like $200. So this device itself, even though it's better, it doesn't cost much more than something like the, for instance, the Motorola Razr, which cost $1,500, or Z Flip that costs, I believe, $1,300 or something along those lines. Now it's still more expensive, but you can a little bit negate that price by, for instance, selling the headphones if you don't want them. And the device is, in my opinion, just overall better. Now I am kind of repeating myself, so I guess this would be probably the end. Really like this device, and nothing else to really say. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.